Hi, thank you for being here with me today. Today is going to be the first episode of Living from the Inside Out, which is a course that I'm putting together. This is an accompanying content piece that is meant to, the intent is that to introduce people to the content and the subject matter. And this is something that anyone who sees the Substack can participate in. And if this interests you, I will be, for our paid members, I will be putting out chapters and different exercises to really teach this in depth. And you can work with me and have discussions so that you really understand what it is to live from the inside out. Um, how I got to this, I'd like to start with the introduction part. Um, how I got to even creating this content is because I am online a lot. And especially in 2025, it was a very challenging year for a lot of people. And they were asking questions about how do I live with my sanity and my peace and that type of thing when the world is doing a lot of things that are stressful and chaotic and unstable. How do I keep my stability and my peace of mind? And so that's how living from the inside out came to be, because over my whole life, really, but specifically the last 30 years, I'm 54, so at the time of this recording. So yeah, especially the last 30 years, I did a lot of really intentional um work, I guess, about how even if the world outside of me is not giving me stimulus that would lead to feeling joyful or good or whatever, that I can create my own feelings of happiness regardless, and that I can still find satisfaction and fulfillment in life by living from the inside out, which we will go more into as this progresses. So that's living from the inside out. How can you look at the news and or look at a chaotic life? Maybe it's because of work, maybe it's because of family, maybe it's because there's a lot of things that are outside of your control, whatever reason that you feel that that you have to choose between cutting yourself off almost from the external world, or like how do you engage with it, right? And still feel good about life, especially lately. Okay, so that's what living from the inside out is, and that's basically how I got here to this moment with you right now, as we uh, open our journey to the subject matter here. So let's go into what is the content of chapter one. So the very first, as okay, so like if you're learning literature, the first thing you need to learn is your ABCs, right? You need to know your alphabet. You need to know that before you even start reading, and then that becomes literature and all that down the road if you're taking that example, right? So the building block, the ABCs of living from the inside out, is really knowing and knowing what is your frequency, what is you, and knowing what is the rest of the world. There's me and there's we. Me, we, okay? Um and when you are living a life where most of your life is obligations that are outside of yourself, or you feel like you're doing things that if it if you weren't feeling like it was an obligation to do, you wouldn't be doing it, right? Like some people love the work they do, some people are working for money, right? Some people are parents, and part of being a parent is putting other people's lives a lot of times ahead of yours, your feelings and your, so, and that doesn't mean that you don't want to be working or don't want to be a parent or whatever. That's like a whole different discussion. It's just that in doing that action, you are almost put in a position where you need to think about other people before you, right? So, or you're doing something out of obligation, not out of a voluntary want to do it sometimes. Some people are doing that a lot of times, right? So, I would say that the amount of your life that is taken up doing what you actually want to do voluntarily, and what part of your life is, I got to do this because this is what it is to be an adult, right? Um, that's going to kind of tell you how much it might be hard to separate what is your frequency from what's all of this bombardment from outside you. Like, you need to do this. Yeah. So a lot of times you might be like, oh, this is my idea, but it's not really your idea. It's kind of, you've taken on that idea from society or from the culture that you're in or from the people you're around, right? And how much pressure or how negative the outcome will be if you don't play the game, so to speak. Okay. So, all of that to say, who are you? Who are you when no one else is around? Who are you when you don't have to do anything? Who are you just by yourself? A lot of people, it may take you some time to even embrace what that is, what that idea is, because some people, their whole lives, they've been always considering other people. They don't even really know who they are or what their frequency alone sounds like, because they just haven't even had the time or attention to be able to sit for quietly for a moment and even experience that, right? So that's like the first thing that I would say we would do. In the course, we'll go into way greater detail, but for now, let's do something. I'm gonna just, if you're open to this little experiment here, take a deep breath, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, close your eyes, and just be for a second. What does that feel like to you? Maybe put your hands on your heart. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. In this moment, is it quiet in your mind? Or is there a lot going on in there? Are you thinking about what you need to do next, or what you want to eat next, or what the kids are doing in the other room, or when your paycheck's coming in, or let's get all that out of your mind for a second. Just kind of blow that out. Picture it being blown away from you. And who is, feel that frequency. What is that frequency? From your stomach area, from your heart area, from your forehead. Just kind of wash that all away. Feel it clearing away. Okay. And just sit with that for a sec. Normally we do way deeper, way longer meditation here, but I just want to get you to be silent. Excuse me. Okay, come back here. And what did that feel like if you really did it? Um, excuse me, get a little drink of water here. What did that feel like? Right, if you have a journal or any piece of paper near you, maybe write down some thoughts and notes you had there. Were you able to clear your mind, or was your mind full of different thoughts? Were you able to be still, or did you not really want to? Was there part of you resisting that, wanting to hear what was coming up in the silence? That happens a lot, especially if you're just beginning that process. But it's good to do that definitely when you wake up in the morning, if you can, also right before you go to bed. And then anytime during the day that you have a minute, I mean, honestly, like when you're in the bathroom by yourself or whatever, sometimes, especially if you're a parent and a fully busy business person, that may be the only time you get. So, not to be gross or anything, but I mean, sometimes that's really the only moment we have. But just thinking as everything's being eliminated, also eliminate your energy, like the noise that's in your energy, and like just be there in that moment, like, who am I when no one else is around? And then once you really get that frequency and you really understand that frequency, then we'll start working on how we can hold our frequency when the world wants us to change it. I want you to feel this way. I want you to do this thing. I was thinking this morning a lot about advertising. Like, we get bombarded with advertising all the time. Think this is blah, 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 blah. You're this age. You should be worried about this. You should be doing this. This could happen to you. That could happen to you, and it's just like, ah. And then we like take that in, and it's like, who am I? Like, if I didn't listen to this ad today, if I didn't watch this news thing today, if I didn't listen to somebody gossiping and saying some weird stuff to me, like, or whatever, like, who am I? Like, what do I feel like when I'm just me, you know? Let's just take that out. Whew. Okay. So that is the first chapter. And the more that you want to practice with that exercise is good, because the stronger you have an identity of what your frequency is versus everyone else, the easier it'll be to do the next step, which will be holding that frequency when everyone else is around you. Just kind of like what I was talking about. I'll go into it more in the next episode, but sorry, I was kind of lost there in a minute. Oh, when we're going to do this exercise where we hold our frequency regardless of what's happening around us, I wanted to say it. Okay, I'm not saying that that is going to work 100% of the time, but I'm saying that as you're kind of, it's almost like a muscle, it builds up, and as it builds up, it'll work 90% plus, maybe even 98% plus when you really get into it and you're really strong at it. But that can take some time. That's not going to happen in the first 2 minutes, okay? Again, it's like you don't go into the gym the first time and then lift, 500 pounds or whatever. You'll hurt yourself. And it's not a, it's, it's not something that you would expect. It's not a expectation that makes any sense, right? So we'll go more into that into chapter 2, but understand that it takes time to build up this muscle. It's almost like a muscle, right? But it's not. It's this practice of like knowing your frequency and being able to hold it regardless of what's happening outside of you. So that's what we'll talk about next time. But I hope that you found value in this, and that you'll come back next time and we'll do some more work together. So thanks for sharing this time with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Bye bye.